Hi and welcome to another gaming video, and in today's video I want to talk about Nintendo 3DS games that were only released in 2D or only viewable in 2D. Now, the unique selling point of the Nintendo 3DS was that it had this 3D feature that you could use without glasses. It's called stereoscopic 3D, and it was one of the main selling points to pull people away from the DS Lite and the DSi. And most game titles had 3D of some sort. Some took more advantage of it than others. Games like Super Mario 3D Land, which I always praise, really did shine if you put it in 3D, but there were other games that worked okay in 3D but didn't really need it at all. And then you get a few games that were only released in 2D. You could play them on a 3DS, but there was no 3D feature. And these 2D games were released pretty much sort of towards the end of the 3DS's life. They brought in the original 2DS quite early on, but the last console to be made was the new 2DS XL, and Nintendo were trying to just eke out the last of the DS fans and went with the new 2DS XL, and it looks like they went with some 2D games, which, like I said, you could play on a 3DS or a new 3DS, but there was just no 3D feature. Games like Pikmin, Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, Super Mario Maker, Detective Pikachu, Final Fantasy Explorers, Kirby's Extra Epic Yarn, and there were some Pokemon games that were released with 2D only, and there were a couple of Pokemon games before that which were mainly 2D with the odd little 3D bit in, and it looked as if that's the way that Nintendo were going. And like I said, it was towards the end of the 3DS's lifespan. They'd already brought out the 2DS, they were then pushing the new 2DS XL, and it was Nintendo just kind of admitting that the 3D feature wasn't the wow that they wanted it to be, so they just pushed out some 2D games to get the last few sales before they finally killed it off with the Switch, and that's my take on it. So I was quite surprised to hear that there were some 3DS games that only played in 2D. Would be great to see what happens if you slid the 3D slider up. Nothing, I'm assuming, pretty much like if you did it with the DS game in. But there you go, there's a handful of 3DS games, and they still say 3DS down the spine, but they only play in 2D. So let me know if you've got one of these games, or perhaps you've got a game that's not on this list, and like, subscribe, enjoy.